right, everybody. Thank you for all of you that have joined us and watched the Sony PlayStation E3 press conference live here on Twitch at twitch.tv/PenguinRage. Of course, I'm your host, PenguinRage, and we are joined by OC Platin, Nerdy Dark Chocolate, and Professor B, and we are going to now break down game by game, announcement by announcement, the Sony PlayStation press conference. So all you guys out there watching on Twitch, thank you for the support, and also chime in, jump into the chat, let us know what your favorite games were, all that great stuff. And if you're watching this post-show on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. With that being said, all right, guys, so a lot of games that we can digest and go through here in just a minute, but overall, the Sony conference, what'd y'all think?
In regards to a production standpoint, and like entertainment standpoint of watching, by far the best. I mean, it seems like the Sony has really put their foot down in regards to like, yeah, we want to make it so that people are actually entertained. In regards to like, it's complete opposite of Bethesda's last night, which was just like, okay, no one needed to go to that. That was just a video.
And you're also talking in regards to people that are watching it live, sitting there.
Yes. I'm talking in regards to like a production standpoint of having live people play music, to have the zombies crawl down, to have screens come out, to have flames, to have lights all over the building. It was very, very cool. I think it was almost exactly what we expected. I mean, again, if you go back and listen to when we were talking before, I said I think it's going to be 95% games, 30% VR, which they had a VR segment, almost exactly like I kind of figured they would. They showed basically everything I expected. Spider-Man was a little bit, I think, more than what I expected.
Yeah.
The only thing, which again is something I'm seeing from the kind of funny guys and seeing on Twitter, the issue is that all of the big announcements they had, none of them, or at least are like they are coming out in 2017. The announcements that they made before the conference are the things that are coming out in 2017, which was odd. Does that make sense? So like,
but I think that's what we all anticipated based on the formula.
Horizon DLC is 2017. Just looking through my notes, just that is the only thing that I think was set. The Horizon and Uncharted DLC were the only two things that had dates that were in 2017 that were exclusive, minus like obviously Destiny and Call of Duty.
Well, and they said before the stream, Gran Turismo Sport is 2017 and NAC 2 is 2017.
That was something that a lot of people are giving them flack for right now, is like, okay, cool, that was a good conference, but these are all games we're not going to see for 7-8 months, and that's a little bit disappointing.
Now, the one thing I will say to that is, we talked about this in the pre-show, is Sony, the formula they've had since the PS4 came out was their big AAA, massive first-party studio game launches in the spring. So February, March, April timeframe, and then the holidays. Every holiday, they haven't had any of their first-party big AAA games. They literally focus on the Destinies, the Call of Duties, the Star Wars. They focus on the exclusive content with the third-party gunslingers, if you will. And they bring the content themselves earlier on.
Your mic was out there for a good 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I think it's just Discord. So if it does it, just ignore it, because you can't we're recording. So
okay.
Discord's obviously just fucking up. But in that regard, it's the formula they've been taking, right? So you saw it this year. Horizon Zero Dawn already launched, and that was February, March, something like that. Then they came out with a whole bunch of other obviously exclusives that are second party or third party. And then the holidays, just like they've done every year, they focus on the third-party partnerships with like Destiny 2, Call of Duty, so that sort of thing. So I understand the flack, really do, but I also think they're sticking to their formula that's been successful thus far. Because the only argument I guess you can make is Uncharted was supposed to be a holiday game. Well, Uncharted 4 when that actually came out, and then it got delayed, and then it got delayed again. So my guess is they're trying to avoid, quote-unquote, delaying games or putting dates on games until they're more final, because nothing worse than all of us getting hyped up for a launch and then it gets delayed 3 months, 4 months, whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean,
CJ, what was your thoughts on the conference overall?
Like Brian, you know me, I'm in film and television. That's like my bread and butter. So to see this show that was just well produced was just mind blown. I was not expecting this, especially like you guys said, after watching Bethesda's show last night. This was absolutely amazing. In terms of the games that they talked about, like we discussed in the pre-show, we really thought that there'd be more of a focus on VR and just be nothing but great game after great game, and that's pretty much what they delivered. I'm actually quite excited, and you know me, that I'm
Mhm.
Making me want to buy a PS4. This is making me want to invest in Spider-Man, Days Gone, Detroit, Horizon, even though it's just a DLC. And Marvel's like, I already tried to download it. Like these are just phenomenal titles, and I just want to jump on board.
I agree. Derek?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it all, but it was definitely a good show. Very entertaining. Days Gone and God of War obviously stood out the most to me.
I'll just tweet something, or sorry, I'd say something that was Neil Druckmann just tweeted, and it was something I was going to raise up. There was no The Last of Us 2, but he said, "Believe me, we're super excited to show you more of Ellie and Joel's second journey. Right now, it's Chloe and Nadine's time to shine."
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's what we all anticipated. Uncharted's coming out this August. We're probably not going to see anything on The Last of Us 2 until maybe PlayStation Experience at the end of the year in December, which was a year from when they announced it last December. So, I mean, that's not to be expected. I think that's, the way it should be, right? Uncharted's the big thing. So let's break it down now, guys. I mean, overall, I'll agree real quick. The conference, I think it was the formula that they took last year that everybody loved. So it didn't do anything that was kind of mind-blowing in that regard. But starting out with the live music and then going into the live set and, like CJ was saying, the actual production of the stage for people live in the studio audience, not just the people here like watching on streams. The fact that they had bodies hanging from the fucking ceiling, real people like moving around when they were doing the Days Gone trailer is fucking nuts. And obviously the pyro and everything like that. So Sony, once again, I mean, they always do. They take it to another level when it comes to the actual stage show. But obviously, it's about the games, and that's what I liked. Immediately they started off, they had 3 games shown before anyone even came out and spoke. So, in 3 massive AAA 100% exclusive games. Obviously, one is Uncharted Lost Legacy, coming out this August, and they started with like a Middle Eastern musical group that was playing music that actually tied in with the game. I don't know if you guys want to touch much on Uncharted Lost Legacy. I think it looked beautiful. We got to see a bit more of it. It's coming out very soon, and I like that they started the show with this because it's something that's just a reminder, hey, this comes out very soon, but we don't need to show you much more. What y'all think?
I mean, yeah, I think that nails on the head. They've shown a lot of it already. It's a DLC, so you can't show as much as a regular game. So I think it just kind of shows some more fun scenes of it, but don't give any more hints. I think they nailed it.
Definitely. And then obviously into another thing, which was more single-player DLC expansion, was Horizon Zero Dawn. I did not catch the whole name of it, but it did say it is coming out this year, 2017 as well, which is awesome and exciting. So, I mean, we can get into it at the end of the show here, but obviously when we're talking about, so August, heavy hitter with Uncharted. Horizon's probably my guess September, October for that single player
September,
DLC.
They said.
Is it September?
Yeah, September 27th.
It was the Frozen Wilds. It was what it was called.
Frozen Wilds. So Horizon Zero Dawn, obviously massive. Like I think it's got like a 93 or 94 on Metacritic. Extremely great game this year. So for it to come out with the single player DLC this same year, I think is phenomenal. Then we'll get into the big one. I know we'll all talk on this a bit more. Is Days Gone. So this is obviously developed by Sony Bend. This is, once again, a first-party studio, 100% exclusive from Sony Bend, the guys that actually made the Uncharted on the Vita. That was their last game. This one that we showed off for the very first time last year, it's gone quiet. They showed a lot more gameplay. They showed a lot more of what you're doing, aside from just running around from zombies, interaction with other people, riding on a motorcycle, a lot of strategy and stealth. I mean, the game looked fucking awesome. I don't even know what else to say. I think that was, out of everything on here, the best one for me. I mean, Spider-Man was mind-blowing as well, but Days Gone's the type of game I love because you can tell there's going to be strong story elements behind it too.
Yeah. I don't know. I was going to let Stu jump in.
Yeah, the story looks awesome. Gameplay looks really cool. That's definitely one I'm most excited about on PlayStation for sure.
And I'll jump in and say, too, when they showed it off at E3 last year, I really wasn't sold all too much just because it just looked like another one of the generic zombie games. But what they showed today really did solidify, like, this is going to be a very story-driven game that happens to take place in a zombie world. Kind of the same idea that really was for The Last of Us, and I think that's very important. And it seems like it's going to be a bit more actiony than The Last of Us, but it does look very exciting.
Yeah, it has very similar feel to the way he was kind of like crouching in the bushes and everything like that as The Last of Us. But then when you see the swarms of zombies and the way everybody's moving through quickly and fast pace, but then a lot of the strategy of going around, that's where it really differentiates itself. So I think that's what makes it very interesting. I'm super excited about it. Unfortunately, there's no date. They didn't even say 2018. There was just no date, at least that I saw. Did I miss that? Oh. All right. I'm going to speak to myself, I guess.
Yeah, no, it cuts out like every like 2 minutes. So
Really?
Yeah, it's hard to like keep up with what you're saying.
yeah, it's hard to keep up with what you're going. So if you might want to close the Discord and recall it with a different region.
Okay. Fucking South is... Let's just see if we can just kick it over right away.
US West.
Yep, US West. You hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So what we're saying there, though, I mean, the one thing that was upsetting about the Days Gone gameplay was they didn't show a date. No date.
Yeah.
They didn't even say 2018. They didn't give a window. Nothing. At least that I saw, unless I missed it. So
No, I didn't see anything
like I
either.
said-
And the game looks too complete for them to be uncertain, so it's kind of odd that they didn't do that.
Yeah, and I think that's what everyone was talking about was the biggest weakness of the Sony show was just a lot of cool things shown, but a lot of uncertainty.
Right. Well, I mean, I think it looks good. CJ, you haven't said anything on Days Gone. Anything on that?
Days Gone, it looked fantastic. I've never played any of these before, but from what I saw there, this is definitely something I'm going to jump on board with. That was one of my top 5. Like I said, I want Spider-Man, Days Gone, Detroit, Horizon, and Marvel. I know Horizon is only a DLC, but it just made me want the game that much more.
Right.
Days Gone is a standalone new IP.
Yeah,
Just
it's new
throwing that
IP.
out there. Yeah, so you're not.
Oh, I thought it was
missing
something-
anything.
Okay, nice. Even better. So it looks good. I want it.
Exactly. So we're all going in fresh to that one. So this is the part where the first break came, where Sean Layden actually walked out, said just a few words, saying, "Hey, remember this is PlayStation. We're all about the games first. That's what actually matters." Which was, I guess maybe a small jab. I don't know. Take it as you may. I think it's just that's been their MO from the beginning of this generation. But what was interesting was when he ended his little short speech there, he was very respectful of the next game coming up, which is when I shouted out, it's got to be a Japanese game, right? It's a whole different culture, the way that stuff works. And that's where a trailer started playing, or the gameplay started playing. We didn't know what it was for a while, but his new Monster Hunter game. So Monster Hunter World, coming in 2018. I'm not a big fan of the Monster Hunter games. I've never played them. I can't say anything on them if from a personal level, and I don't know if any of you guys can either. The only thing I know is the franchise is huge, and it hasn't been on a console, especially a PlayStation console, in quite some time. I mean, like I said, ignorance, but to my knowledge, it's only been on like Nintendo 3DS, maybe on the Vita at some point, a PSP, maybe. I don't know. It's been on handheld. So for it to be on a PlayStation console, I think it's huge. We don't know if it's exclusive or not, but the way he was speaking, it almost made it sound like it was. I don't know.
It's to coming back, I haven't played it, but I have a couple of friends here that went crazy for it on the 3DS. Like 2 or 3 friends that went out, bought 3DSs when the game came out on 3DS. So curious to see what that means then for if it is a PS4 exclusive, there's a huge amount of people that go crazy for that game.
Yeah.
I'm in the same boat as you, Kyle. I haven't played any of the games, mainly because I don't play handheld consoles, but that one kind of made me interested. Might jump into the series.
Yeah, I mean, they're hugely popular, and it's supposed to be very deep, very dense RPG style game. So maybe we'll give it a go. Like I said, I'm sure a lot of you guys out there watching this video will know that you're big fans of Monster Hunter, so you're cringing right now. But
the dinosaurs look pretty badass too, and
Yeah.
the
Yeah, they
dinosaur
look sick.
sword he had.
yeah, so for it to come on the PS4, I think is a huge story in itself. So here's the next one where I actually fucking lost my shit because I did not expect this, and I don't think anybody or any of the predictions I was listening to predicted this. Shadow of the Colossus, and they actually put a date on it
predicted
too.
it, man.
They said 2018. So that's fucking awesome. Studio Japan, and of course with Blue Point, who does a lot of those ports, HD remasters. So That's my guess. They never said HD remaster. They never say anything, but it must be a remaster of Shadow of the Colossus itself. Obviously a very, very, very iconic. You can probably argue it's a niche title, but it was a game that was very well loved by that cult following back on the PS2. So I'm super excited. I like those types of games. I'm pretty sure Team Eco will still have some involvement, maybe overseeing it in some way. They obviously had to sign off on it. So, I mean, you guys excited about Shadow of the Colossus?
Yeah, that was one of my all-time favorite games on the PS2. Just the scale of the monsters and scaling them and all that.
Yeah. I can only imagine.
The only thing I'll say is I don't know if it was leaked, but I definitely heard about this before it was going on. Of like, it just rumor, I think, of that they were going to do that, but it was not. Didn't want to say I wasn't surprised, but it was definitely very cool to see and good on them.
Right. No, I think that's awesome. It's great fan service. I think every year they're bringing back something iconic PlayStation in some capacity now, which is kind of cool and a nice fan service to the hardcore PlayStation audience. Because now PlayStation's, over 20 years old, so it makes sense, right? So a lot of people grew up with a lot of these franchises, so it really makes sense. And speaking of iconic franchises, I'll let CJ run with this right off the top here. Marvel. Okay, well, here's a big exclusive that is coming this year. Yep. It's not a first-party game, but it is an exclusive. It's Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite coming September 19th on PS4.
True.
Yeah. The game looks fantastic. I love my fighting games. I'm a huge fan of, Mortal Kombat, Killer Instinct. But this game that trailer was phenomenal. I would love to see a little bit more. I felt like we didn't see enough actual gameplay, which would have been a deal breaker. It's kind of a deal breaker for me at the present moment, but I don't know. I think it's got a huge potential to be a fantastic title.
I agree. I mean, I think Marvel vs. Capcom is my favorite fighting game in the fighting genre. I mean, hell, I played the living shit out the one they ported to the Vita. So I'm excited, especially seeing it running on the Pro. I don't know if it's 4K. Obviously, I'm not going to say that, but the colors and everything being so vibrant with the more up-to-date release and everything coming out soon, September 19th, I think that's huge. And they also did announce that today the demo for the game would go live to download. So make sure...
Still not live yet.
Well, you're in Canada, bruh.
I know. I want it.
They said today, so it might not be up yet. It might be coming soon, but if you haven't yet, check your PS4. Go download the demo if you want to check out Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Next one was really cool to see. They showed a lot more of the game than I've seen previous, and I'll let Derek start with this because I know he's excited about it just like I am. Call of Duty World War II launching on November 3rd.
Oh yeah, I love the idea of going back to World War II. Got sick of all the jetpacks and futuristic stuff, jumping around and all that. But the game looks awesome. Artillery, guns, all you need.
Exactly. It's about time it went back to the World War II time frame. I mean, that's the bread and butter of the game, and that's why I'm excited again because COD just ran so dry the last couple of years for me. What about you guys?
I mean, I think I said as it was happening, I haven't bought a Call of Duty game. I think it was either World War or Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 3. It was like it's been years since I bought one, so I'm excited. It looks like that will be one I'll probably pick up.
Definitely. So this is the section now where they brought out a lot of PlayStation VR games. A lot more than I was expecting and more than they've done on a stage show for any of their stuff in the past. I think they understand that they're actually getting content now. They're getting bigger content now. But it's good that they gave love to PSVR. But it wasn't also, I'm going to stand on stage and talk to you for 10 minutes about technical crap or try and do a live demo with VR, which is damn near impossible on a stage. They just brought out the games, which was the MO of everything. And the first one I'm super excited about was Skyrim. Yes, Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, coming fully playable PlayStation VR. They didn't give a date. They didn't give a price. However, I think it looked awesome. What do you guys think about Skyrim in VR?
I'm not going to play it again, but if you like the game a lot more than I did, so that's a question you have to answer. Are you going to play it again?
Yeah. I beat Skyrim like 4 times, so probably gonna go do it again. Especially,
I think it'll be cool to experience in VR for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, it's an update to the game, or it's a cheap add-on, maybe $20. Probably not. It'll probably be a standalone, full-fledged game, which I respect. But I mean, that's one of my favorite games, and I think to show a massive open-world RPG such as that running completely on a virtual reality headset, I think that's pretty telling. I think it's pretty awesome. So we'll have to see. The next was Star Child. I'm trying to remember what Star Child was. Was this
wasn't that your game for your company?
Probably.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was. So, it was.
Like it was super early development.
Yeah, so they didn't really show too much what it was. It was PSVR. They did not give a date. It looked like it's got a nice artistic feel to it. And it's probably got a story-driven choices, something like that. I don't know. They didn't show gameplay of what it actually was, so not really going to dwell on that. The next was one that looked fucking awesome. It's from the guys from Supergiant Games, the guys that brought you Until Dawn. This is a PSVR game called The Impatient, and it must be either in the same universe as Until Dawn. The reason I say is the crazy old man from Until Dawn was in this game. So
or it looked a lot like him.
It looked a lot like it. It's a horror type of game in PlayStation VR. Fuck yeah.
It definitely looks. I mean, like Until Dawn was fantastic. That was actually one of my favorite games overall last year, and it came out of nowhere. And I'm very excited for what they're going to do there.
Definitely. I know Derek and CJ don't have a VR helmet yet, but now that you're seeing some of these games, are you thinking more of getting one?
Yes, I am pretty sure that my wife will divorce me with everything I want to get. No, but seriously, yeah, I've always wanted to jump on the VR bandwagon, and I've really liked some of the things I've seen thus far. But this show really proved to me that it's a serious affair, and I think this is the perfect time for anyone who doesn't already have VR to invest because the games look amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, they're definitely stepping up that next. It's year 2 now, right? So it's time to see that. Well, technically the thing hasn't been out for 2 years yet, but it's coming up on year 2. So when these start releasing. The next one I'll skip over pretty quickly. It was a Final Fantasy fishing game in VR.
Yeah, it's not even worth a talking point.
Yeah. Final Fantasy fans, you'll be happy.
It was so weird.
You can fish.
I don't know. I know like that's like Fantasy. Part of the thing of that game is like you can do whatever the fuck you want, I guess. But it was just, I get the sentiment, but why did they show that? And that was weird.
No, it's stupid. Like, if this was like Dead or Alive fishing with like Kasumi, okay, I can see why people want to play that. But yeah, this just made no sense to me.
Yeah. The next one, though, looked fucking awesome. Derek, I don't know if you saw it. You'd probably be into this. It's called Bravo Team. It's a first-person shooter in PSVR. So my guess is that one's going to have full compatibility with the I guess they call it the sharpshooter. I forget what they called the virtual reality gun. The first-person gun that came with Farpoint, which also works incredible. So my guess is that'll work completely with Bravo Team. Look like a modern shooter in first person in PSVR. I mean, there's not much more you can really want from that. I mean, I love Farpoint. I still need to finish it. I'm going to make some more content on YouTube for you guys, but it's being done, and it's showing that first-person shooters have a place in VR. It's not obviously going to take over the FPS genre and, become this massive esports thing, but it can be done, and it's a fun, immersive experience, especially if it's story-driven, right?
Yeah, that one actually did look pretty cool.
Right. So I think that makes sense. Next, we'll do really quick, too. It was called Moss on PlayStation VR. It looked like your typical indie, artsy, story-driven game. Maybe platformer, maybe strategy. I don't know what it is.
Those types of games will be, once it comes out, if it's good, we'll hear about it. If it's not, then we won't.
Right.
It's just the truth. So
exactly.
We'll see.
Exactly. So we'll see. Moss. But point is, guys, they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 titles on PSVR on the stage. That's pretty huge. They've never done something like that.
Yeah. That was what they needed to do that.
I think now if you're interested in a VR headset, now would be a good time to jump in because the only reason I've been holding off on buying a headset is because I don't want just tech demos. I want full games,
Right.
full experience, full story mode.
Agreed. And now you're starting to see that, especially like games like Skyrim. Yeah, it's an older game, but the fact that it's proving from a technological standpoint that a full open world game can be done in VR is incredible. And then what I've experienced in Farpoint, same thing. Like that game blew me away. Brian, have you played Farpoint yet?
I haven't yet, no.
Dude, oh my God, this kid. Actually, Derek,
know.
you need to come over and play it. It's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Now we're getting into the final 4 games that were the gunslingers. So next was God of War. So they actually gave a window for this. They didn't just say 2018. They said early 2018. So this goes back to our discussion at the very beginning of PlayStation sticking to the same formula. Release a game in the spring, their big AAA first-party exclusive game in the spring, so February, March, April timeframe, just like they did with Uncharted, just like they did with Horizon, etc. And then release the third-party stuff in the holiday window, and then you fill everything else in between with your second-party and middle-tier studios. So God of War, early 2018, makes sense being in that February, March timeframe. And, I mean, it blew us away last year. So, it wasn't something that was out of left field, but I think the game looked fucking awesome. And then, of course, scale, something God of War has always had. That giant fucking snake thing at the end looked fucking dope. And I like the new direction they're going with the story, the new aesthetic, the new weapons. It's not as arcadey chaotic. It's more slow-paced, strategic, facing your enemies. Kratos looks really good with his interaction with his son. And obviously visually looks fucking stunning. So, I mean, what do you guys think about God of War?
It was great. I think they showed off something that was exciting with it. It was, I think they showed off something that needed to be showed off. But we saw that, was it last E3 or PlayStation Experience? I never remember now. It looked really exciting. It was cool to finally see some gameplay on the front of it, and it looks like a very story-driven, more modern type of aesthetic for a God of War game. I think it's what it needs to be. So we'll see.
CJ?
The God of War. I gotta say, I'm interested. The gameplay looked absolutely fantastic. I think this is definitely going to be one of those games that we're going to hear about for a long time. It just seems to have the potential to really blow our minds.
Right. And Derek, I know you've been a fan of the God of War series, so getting back into it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It looks like it's going to be more heavy-hitting with the combat system. You're not going to be as zoomed out, not as arcadey. The combat system is what really intrigues me. The only complaint, or it's really nitpicking at this point, is I hope they make the gameplay with your son good. I don't want to feel like I'm babysitting a little kid the whole time.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. They didn't show too much of the interaction because when they actually showed Kratos having gameplay, he kind of was just off fucking shit up on his own. So my guess is it'll have something similar to like The Last of Us, how Ellie would kind of just, if you're low on ammo, she'll find shit and throw it to you, or maybe jump on the back of an enemy if he's like.
They showed it at one point where Kratos picked someone up and the kid shot him with an arrow while he was in the air.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be very similar to the way The Last of Us was handled, right, with Ellie as the side character. So, I'm excited. I mean, God of War, man. I'm glad Sony Santa Monica went back to the drawing board. Excuse me, and kind of refreshed it, relaunching it, if you will. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was just called God of War, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So once again, did not change it. It's completely refreshing it, which is awesome. And the other thing we haven't touched on, I love how it's now in the Nordic mythology, like fucking in the mountains and snow, and the way the enemies are. I think it looks freaking sick. And we forgot to say it earlier with Days Gone. Zombie bear.
Oh my God, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, come on. It's going to be
covered in
fucking
barbed wire and stuff.
Right. So that's going to be awesome. That's going to be awesome. So next was Detroit. Is it Become Human?
Yeah.
Detroit Become Human. This is the next game from Quantic Dream. So obviously the guys that did holy shit. Brain.
Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain was the one I was looking for. Beyond Two Souls. Heavy Rain was the one that was very well received. Everybody loved. And then Beyond Two Souls was a lot of people loved it, but a lot of people hated
Mixed.
it. So it was, middle of the ground. But I'm very intrigued by Detroit. I like those story-driven, make decisions style of gameplay where your story can be completely different than mine. And characters die, and they actually die, and they will not come back to life. That's been the way the Quantic Dream games have always been. So I'm pretty excited. That sort of thing. And Dorky said the screens on the VR headset aren't very good. That is actually a misconception, because I thought the same thing until I used my VR on the Pro, and when it uses the extra processing power of the PS4 Pro, I don't have that screen door effect anymore. So the games run better when they're obviously on a more powerful console. So I don't actually think that's the VR lenses itself, because they are 1080p OLED screens running at 120 frames. So,
They're not OLED screens, but yeah,
pretty sure they are.
they're LCD.
Okay, regardless, I thought they were. Google it, somebody. Anything else on Detroit, guys? I mean, I'm excited for it. I like those style games.
I mean, I'm super excited for Detroit. That's Quantic Dream is one of my favorite developers. I've loved every game that they've put out on PlayStation, and I'm hyped for it.
Right.
I do like this style of games, but the setting and everything, I'd have to see more at this point. It doesn't look like it's for me.
Right.
I think the game looks great. I think this is definitely a game I'm going to play multiple times to check out the different possibilities with all the different options you can choose at every checkpoint there, kind of thing. So I think it's going to be great.
Right. No, and it looked visually beautiful. And might I say quick, I don't know if you guys still have the PlayStation official feed up. We got it running here with us as we're recording this. Hot Shots Golf, which is now renamed to Everybody's Golf. Fuck yes. Come out already. I want this goddamn game, man. I fucking love Hot Shots Golf. I played
that game was super fun.
the living shit out of it on the Vita. Like, that game was made for the Vita. Oh my god, if they released this one on the Vita. I'm sorry. I love that fucking game. Yes. So I'll let Brian take the next one right off the top. Destiny 2, obviously coming out on September 6th. And I just wrote down lots of PlayStation exclusives. I know there's like obviously guns and gear, but there's also Strike, PvP map, all this different exclusive stuff for PlayStation. So Brian, hype for Destiny 2?
Well, the first thing I'll mention actually is that the September 6th release date, that's bumped earlier than what they originally announced. So they changed the release date for the game. It's earlier than what they originally said. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I think it was like 1 week later, so they bumped it 1 week earlier or something. I don't know if that's because
I wonder if that was a mistake during the press conference.
I mean, I've seen people tweeting about it and whatnot, so I don't know.
Well, while we talk about it, can you pull up Deej on Twitter? So I'm sure he might have said something. He'd be getting blown up.
Okay, and along with that, the beta opens July 18th on PSN, July 19th on Xbox, and July 21st is open beta. So I'm guessing those previous dates are by invite only. And then the PC release date for it is now October 24th.
Say that again?
Just a few more.
There's a lot of stuff there.
For beta stuff, I'm guessing early access beta is July 18th for PlayStation, July 19th for Xbox, and July 21st is open beta. And then the PC release date for Destiny 2 is different date than the console release date, and it's October 24th.
Yeah, I think everybody knew that was coming. So
yeah, we knew that was coming. They just didn't have a release date for it yet.
I'm super psyched. I think the game looks fucking incredible. They did the Destiny reveal about a month ago. Obviously, I know a lot of people, Destiny's not for them, but Destiny, especially after the first expansion when they brought in a lot of the extra story elements and stuff, like doing the raids and a lot of that stuff, I have not got that excited and shit from playing a game with other people in a long time. I mean, that time we ran the raid for like 6 hours straight, Brian, with a bunch of people, and then you just fucking lost your mind screaming at some random guy over the mic. Like, Destiny is fun as shit, and they're going to fix a lot of the crap that was the problem with it, with the gear and the ranking up and the having the grind and everything like that. They're going to make it more accessible. But obviously they're throwing in a lot more story, which is what they fucked up with in vanilla Destiny before the first update. So I'm excited for it because the lore and the story behind Destiny is also extremely interesting once they added it all in and gave more depth to it. Brian, what else for Destiny you want?
Like I said, I kind of said it during the thing. I'm really actually not getting myself super hyped for it, just because I'm still in a lull of the game. Of that, like Overwatch came around and kind of just took over it, and
Here
I
we
think
go.
I'll be more excited as it gets closer. But the stuff I've heard thus far, I can't say I disagree with, in that it just looks like Destiny 1.5.
Yeah, and it does. Yeah, I think
And
that's fair.
I'm gonna get the game, but part of the issue too is that a lot of the people that I usually play with, they've been so turned off of Destiny just because of how it's been for the last like year and a half, basically, that I don't even know if they're gonna get the game. So
They say that, but they
when it
will.
gets closer, I'm
Everybody's
sure
gonna
I'll
have
get
that
more
itch.
excited. But we'll see. I'm excited, but I'm not getting ahead of myself.
I know some preliminary pre-order numbers. It's fucking good. The game's gonna do very, very well, especially since they're bringing it to PC. It's gonna bring in a lot more people. I just wish it was cross save with PC and PS4. So not that you can play together, but I wish that if I have a Titan on PS4 and then Derek's like, "Hey, jump on PC with me," I can continue my character on PC. Like, I just wish. I wish. It'd be too cool, but obviously I don't think that's gonna happen. Derek, CJ, I don't think you guys are Destiny fans too much. Anything there?
Not interested.
Yeah, I'm kind of a Destiny hater. I'll be interested if it, gets good reviews and there's more story and all that, but I'm definitely gonna wait and see how it turns out.
Fair enough, and I think that's a fair sentiment. The way the game did launch to underwhelming some expectations, so does not surprise me. I'm quickly going to touch on something that Derek, you weren't here during our pre-show, but I'm going to bring it up now because they're showing it on this stream right now. Gran Turismo Sport. So before the stream, so also talking about games coming this year, exclusive to PlayStation. Derek, you'll love this. Gran Turismo Sport on the PS4 Pro will run at 4K 60 frames per second.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
So, and it's releasing this year, 2017.
About time.
I know. Fucking better not delay it again, Kazunori. So the last game Sony showed, and I'll make note again that Sean Layden walked out, said thank you everybody, nice and quick, and then he was like, he said it twice. This is a PlayStation exclusive. This is truly a proper PlayStation exclusive. So once again, maybe a little jab at what exclusivity actually means to the competition. I don't know. But I think it's more to have a fucking Marvel IP exclusive is obviously huge and telling. And developed by Insomniac Games, the guys that did Ratchet & Clank, Resistance, and Sunset Overdrive. So Spider-Man. Spider-Man looked fucking beautiful. And they just named it Spider-Man. Marvel's Spider-Man. And gorgeous, huge, fast-paced, chaotic. Derek said it best during the stream. It is very a lot of the combat looks similar to Batman, like the Rocksteady Batman games, but obviously throwing the webs and then being able to traverse and fly everywhere and the web sling. Fuck, man, like the game looked really good. What do you guys think?
Go ahead.
No, go.
It was exciting. It was, and I didn't expect it. I didn't think there was actually going to be any stuff for Spider-Man there, because really now it's almost like we've seen more of that than we have kind of anticipation of the movie. I know we've got a couple trailers, but it looks exciting. The gameplay looked fantastic, and that's what that game's got to ride off of, is good gameplay.
Yeah, it looked fun. Like, it just looked chaotic fun, and that's what I like. CJ?
For me, I'm a visual guy, and the cinematics were just on point. You start off with a cutscene that goes right into the gameplay, and then the gameplay goes right back into another cutscene. It just flows so fluently. The graphics were amazing, and it just seemed to be so liquid smooth. This is definitely a game that's going to be sexy for the eyes. I'm in love with it. I love it.
In that open world, traversing through the city. Holy shit. Derek,
oh god, yeah.
is Spider-Man exciting to you?
I know you guys are gonna hate me for this, but I'm not a huge fan of Spider-Man.
No, I mean that's fair. It's not every character is.
But the game speaks for itself. It would have been a total write-off for me beforehand, but now that I saw that, it's definitely on my radar now.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, I'm a Spider-Man fan of the Marvel series in general. But to give Derek's example, I know a lot of people are a fan of Superman. I don't like Superman. I know there's not really been a good Superman game in a long ass time, but I see it. Like, it's just some characters you connect with, and some you don't. So Spider-Man, I mean, the bigger point is they're getting a good Spider-Man, or at least it seems like we're getting a good Spider-Man from a good AAA developer, Insomniac, and it obviously has Marvel's support. And the beautiful thing is, it's not some fucking side story to a movie that's coming out, because the movie is coming out. But no, this is standing on its own next year, so way later than the movie coming out next month. And it's going to have its own original story. It has its own suit. I mean, fuck, man. I think it looks awesome. I'm excited.
One of the biggest things for that game is I think this city looked awesome in the scale of everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the Batman games, it felt a little confined, even if you did have the whole city to crawl around it.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when you're in like the combat areas when you're fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
So Spider-Man like opens it up, and like CJ said, the fluidity of just going seamlessly from cutscene to swinging across the city to fighting, it looked great. I mean, it's awesome. And one note, they just showed it on the screen also, GT Sport Gran Turismo Fall 2017. So they did not put a month on it, so that concerns me. But
yeah, off topic, but this gameplay trailer looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, it looks fucking gorgeous. God help me. And we didn't say it earlier either. This game also will be in PlayStation VR.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, jewelry.
Really?
Yeah.
That might be a VR seller for me right there.
I'm so excited. Oh, doing the fucking endurance races for 6 hours. Yes, melt your brain.
It's gonna be a lot of vomit in your PlayStation VR.
It's gonna be a lot.
Oh yeah, I mean that's awesome. Super good stuff. I mean, I guess PlayStation also had the problem of, the conference can only be so long, and they didn't dwell on any technical crap. They didn't dwell on anything else. It was just games. Sean said his few things that he needed to do, his thank yous, and they didn't even bring GT Sport to the stage. They didn't bring NAC 2 to the stage, which NAC is also coming out this year, September 5th. Which, just like the Xbox conference, where they had a family-friendly platforming game, Tales of something. Let me see here, trying to find it quickly. Super Lucky's Tale. That was the 3D family platformer that was on the Xbox conference. Just like that, NAC 2 coming from PlayStation just in time for the holiday. So they're catering to those audiences. It makes sense. So more announcements that were coming before and after the show. And Sony in previous years, also with E3, they usually drop a bunch of bombs each day, whether it's a release date, like more specifics, or they have crazy amounts of live streaming coverage on Twitch all the next 4 days. And then obviously their PlayStation blog write-ups. So there's probably a lot of stuff that we obviously didn't even hear, or that they didn't show during the press conference. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, guys, I thought that was a solid conference. Obviously from a set piece, the stage, the production looked beautiful, great for people attending and great for us watching. And I think the games came out firing, and they really did not dwell on a bunch of indies or small, games that the general people might not be interested in. I mean, they got a lot of exclusives here. And yes, the one gripe is a lot of them aren't coming till next year. But they did have Horizon already this year. They still have Uncharted this year. They still have Horizon's expansion this year. They still have Marvel vs. Capcom this year. And they still have GT Sport this year and NAC 2 this year. So, that's the one major gripe, I guess. But I think they came out firing with a lot of the games, and the conference overall was solid. I like that there was very little talking. It was what you needed, but the stage show also was great. So what did you guys think overall? I know we touched on it at the beginning, but now that we ran through it.
It was good. It was about what I expected. I'll disagree in that I think they needed to have a little bit more talking on stage. Again, just on Twitter, people were like, oh, it was another conference where someone pressed play, and here we are an hour later. So they did it a different way in that they still had a production aspect to it of that everything else around them went crazy in there, but I still think it would have been good to maybe have a couple more people come out and talk, I guess, and they could have made it a little bit longer. It was only like an hour and 5 minutes, and not to say that I want it to be 2 hours, but they could have gone another 15 minutes, and I think everyone would have been fine with it. It just kind of ended, and I think everyone was like, "Oh, I guess we're done."
Yeah, I think we were expecting some out of left field bombshell to come out at the end, right? Maybe it was, I keep saying Supergiant, the guys that made Infamous.
Yeah.
Something that would, a game that nobody saw coming. I think that was the thing. And I agree. Something I said during the Xbox conference, I'll say for this too. I wanted at least a couple games to be played live on stage. Uncharted at the beginning kind of looked like it was being played live. That's something Naughty Dog always says they do. But obviously with the audio issues, I didn't really get to pay attention to that too much.
Yeah.
Derek, CJ, what'd you think?
Derek, you go first, man.
Yeah, it was a good conference overall after the train wreck that was the PC conference.
Oh, Jesus.
We
don't talk of that.
Yeah, it was disgusting. But yeah, this is... I probably enjoyed this conference the most by production values, and they probably had the best looking games. I agree.
Yeah. CJ?
For me, like I said earlier, I think the production value behind this was high. I don't think there's going to be anyone that's going to ever say this show was boring. I like you. I agree that there should have been more actual gameplay, but the visuals were fantastic. I think as well put together. The games they showed were pretty much what we needed to see. I wish we had some more definitive dates for some of the titles, but overall, I was super impressed to the point where now I have to get myself a PS4 Pro. I think that speaks volumes. Yeah, and the VR, and I think that speaks volumes considering you guys know how much of an Xbox guy I am. So I'm jumping on board.
I agree. I think it was
one of us.
Yeah. Yeah, you do need that Pro, man. It does make a difference, especially if you're going to get the VR headset. It does make a very noticeable difference. The best game where I noticed the difference was Drive Club. Playing that in VR before, you saw the screen door effect pretty strong. But then when you're running it on the Pro, it was much less to almost non-existent. And then games like Farpoint just look absolutely stunning. So I'd go get the Pro if you can, So yeah, guys, I think that's about it. I was just catching up on some of the chat here and what everybody's saying. A lot of people just excited about a whole bunch of different games, talking about VR, PlayStation Move. And yeah, I don't foresee an update coming to PlayStation Move because I don't see there a need. It is extremely precise and accurate. And the example I'll give is the Farpoint game again. It's first-person shooter. The gun actually comes with one of the Move things at the front. The way it tracks light. The only thing is, obviously, if you don't have good lighting in your house or the camera can't see it, that'll affect it. But I think it works very well, and it's a cost saver for, they're not producing all this brand new stuff. So there you have it, guys. The PlayStation Sony E3 press conference, that rounds out all the press conferences. I know Nintendo has their Direct tomorrow, so we'll see what they're going to do. But I appreciate everybody that has joined us here watching the conference live. And then now during our post-show discussion, once again, we are here on twitch.tv/PenguinRage. I'm a variety streamer. So if you have not done so yet, make sure you hit that follow button and come join us as we stream all the time, a variety of games, Friday through Monday, and then a bit more. We're starting to stream a lot more. And also on YouTube, youtube.com/PenguinRage. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to be uploading the live reaction videos as well as this discussion post-show. So give a thumbs up, share it with everybody, and join us for future content and streams. So for Nerdy Dark Chocolate, OC Platinum, and Professor B, I am PenguinRage. I appreciate all the love, guys. You have been great. All right, y'all have a good night.
Later.
See you guys.
Bye.